We're coming back for some brand new breaking news. MS Now has just learned that FBI Director Kash Patel may be out of a job in the coming months. 3 people with knowledge of the situation say President Trump and his top aides have grown tired of Patel and the unflattering headlines he's been generating recently.
So if I'm not doing my job, if I'm not working, then how is it that the FBI delivered the safest America under President Trump's leadership in the history of our country?
That was the FBI Director of the United States live on national television, aggressively threatening to sue a magazine before the cameras had stopped running.
I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit. And any one of you that wants to participate, bring it on. I'll see you in court.
He sounded arrogant. He sounded ready for battle. But there's one huge issue. By the time this interview finished, it wasn't the Atlantic that was devastated. It was him. Stay with me because this is explosive. I'm going to detail out precisely how Patel's desperate, ego-driven effort to muscle his way out of a terrible problem erupted in his face live on Maria Bartiromo's program under her scathing questioning. What he believed was a power move turned into a career-shattering collapse.
And so, you know what? They can beat their drums and stand next to toxic waste all they want, but that doesn't make it toxic waste. And Maria, I'm happy to announce on your show that we are not going to take this laying down. You want to attack my character? Come at me. Bring it on. I'll see you in court.
So you're going to sue them?
Absolutely. It's coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow you will be dropping a lawsuit against the Atlantic magazine.
Yes, I will, for defamation. And because you know what, Maria? We have to fight back against the fake news. It's one of the many things that President Trump is so successful at in leading out on, because no one is attacked as baselessly as he is and as much as he is. And our leaders that get attacked under his brilliant leadership must do the same. And I won't tolerate their attacks on me, because they are indirect attacks on the men and women of the FBI that we've cleaned up. And this historic, prolific year of crime reduction across the board is something that all Americans should be. And I know they're proud of it because I travel across the country and they say our communities are safer than ever before.
That was hardly the behavior of a strong, confident leader defending his agency. That was the anguished outpouring of a guy who knows the walls are coming in swiftly. Kash Patel was there on national television, puffing out his chest, threatening lawsuits, and bragging about thwarting terrorist attacks while blasting the press as a fake news mafia.
I can say unequivocally that I never listen to the fake news mafia. And as when they get louder, it just means I'm doing my job. This FBI director has been on the job twice as many days as every director before me. What that means is I've taken half as many days off as those before me. What that means is I've taken a third less vacation than those before.
But the second the cameras stopped filming, the actual story was already unfolding behind the scenes. And it is much more destructive than anything he said on that sofa.
Patel, according to multiple current officials as well as former officials who have stayed close to him, is deeply concerned that his job is in jeopardy. He has good reason to think so, including some having to do with what witnesses described as bouts of excessive drinking.
According to extensive research by The Atlantic, Patel's difficulties are not gossip or political assaults. They come from many current and former officials within the Justice Department and the White House who are truly frightened. These are persons who have worked directly with him. They describe a director who has regularly turned up disabled. On more than one occasion, his own security detail struggled to wake him because he seemed very inebriated. Last year, the issue grew so critical that they actually sought breaching equipment, the same specialist gear SWAT teams use to break down hardened doors, since Patel had barricaded himself inside his office and could not be reached. That is hardly a trivial failure of judgment. That is a national security disaster at the highest top of the FBI. The pattern is much more alarming when you look at the complete image. Sources believe Patel has been drinking to excess at Ned's, a private club in Washington, sometimes in the sight of White House and administration workers. He has also been observed drinking extensively at the Poodle Room in Las Vegas on weekend getaways. Early in his tenure, important meetings and briefings had to be pushed back because of alcohol-fueled nights. and after he was filmed chugging beer with the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team following their gold medal win in Italy. President Trump himself, a guy who does not drink and whose own brother died from alcoholism, personally contacted Patel to convey his extreme concern. This is hardly the conduct of someone handling the most powerful law enforcement post in America with the seriousness it requires. While Patel was busy flying around for personal reasons, skipping early meetings, and allegedly turning up unfit for job, he was also apparently ordering polygraph tests on FBI officials. These assessments apparently included inquiries regarding whether staff had ever spoken anything derogatory about him or the president. Instead than concentrating on safeguarding the nation, he is more focused with loyalty tests and stifling internal concerns. The persons voicing these concerns are not his political adversaries. They are authorities who judged the danger had grown too big to keep quiet. They cautioned that Patel's conduct has converted him into a liability, someone whose personal behavior might undermine key operations and national security itself. And yet, instead of addressing any of these serious issues about his fitness to lead, Patel opted to go on Fox News, deflect with outdated 2020 talking lines, and attack the messenger. What you're going to witness next is Maria Bartiromo refusing to allow him get away with that deflection. She asked the one question he plainly did not want to answer, and his reaction showed even more about exactly how empty his stance has become.
Well, let me ask you about the mission, because every time I see President Trump, he says this repeatedly, that the election was rigged in 2020. I mean, he says it all the time. We all know that. And it's almost getting lost because he says it so much. You've been at the FBI now 14 months. Have you done anything about that? And do you have anything to tell us about that?
Absolutely, Maria. Look, I've been with the president nearly since day one on this. As I told you earlier, I was the one that led the effort with folks like Trey Gowdy, Johnny Ratcliffe, and Devin Nunes to expose the corruption that tried to thwart President Trump's first presidential election run. And we saw the FISA abuses there. And I lived through it, and the media came at me then, too. That just shows you that when you're over the target, you keep pummeling the target because the media's going to try and pummel you. We are not going to take this and have not taken this laying down. We did already indict former Director Comey, and that's going through the judicial process. But we also, at this FBI, even though we uncovered what we uncovered back in the House Intel days, I had to come in here and find rooms that they hid from the world. I had to come in here and find access on our computer systems in restricted and prohibited case files that they purposely put in places for no one to see and find. We have found all this information. We are working with our Department of Justice partners, and I am never going to let this go.
Because Maria Bartiromo was not playing along, she stared him directly in the eye and addressed the one question Kash Patel obviously feared after 14 months on the job. What precisely have you done regarding the 2020 election? The question was bold, straight, and heartbreaking. Patel snorted, then started into his weary, scripted script, indicting Comey, uncovering buried files, vowing he would never let it go. But it fell absolutely flat. His voice lacked conviction. His replies provided nothing new. It was the same old dodge he'd been saying for years. In that time, on live national television, Maria Bartiromo publicly humiliated him. She uncovered the emptiness beneath his harsh attitude and his $250 million lawsuit threats. The guy who had only minutes ago pledged war on the press now appeared defensive, unprepared, and out of answers. The interview had evolved into an exposing not of The Atlantic, but of Patel himself.
But first, I just want to give you an opportunity to respond to this reaction to your piece, because Patel's advisor, Erica Knight, called your piece fabricated stories. She said that every serious D.C. reporter passed on. Sarah Fitzpatrick and Jeffrey Goldberg printed it anyway. Lawsuit is being filed. What do you say to that?
I say that I am a very careful, very diligent, award-winning investigative reporter with a history of award-winning work across multiple organizations. You and I, in fact, have worked together previously. I stand by every word of this reporting. We have excellent attorneys, and it is a surprising statement, but a very telling statement, I believe, from. And I would also note, we reached out for comment to the White House and to the Justice Department, neither of which disputed anything. We gave multiple opportunities, including 19 detailed questions. So we stand by every word. And look, this is telling because there are so many people. You alluded to it earlier. These are not the types of people who are willing to speak out outside of the FBI, especially right now, because Kash Patel is going after people with polygraphs in a way that has never happened at the Bureau. So for it to be this level of alarm, this is people genuinely concerned that America is in danger as a result of this conduct. And I feel, a real responsibility to take care of that reporting incredibly carefully. And The Atlantic is nothing but diligent. And we have amazing lawyers and amazing editors, and I stand by every word.